Arsenal probably couldn't afford him and wouldn't fit into their
So you
system.
really just put Arsenal in the conversation.
No, I'm just saying it like the big teams here. Spurs don't need him.
Arsenal can't even finish in the top 8. So
Hello and welcome back to the Off the Crossbar podcast with myself, Regan, Walsh, and my co-presenter as always, Bradley. How are you today, Brad?
I'm having one of those mornings again.
Typical Monday mornings. We've had an action-packed weekend across the world of football with a full slate of cards in the Premier League, La Liga, the Bundesliga, and in the Women's Super League as well. But there is only one place to start, and that is at Anfield, where yesterday Liverpool played host to Scott Parker's Fulham and lost 1-0 thanks to a Mario Lemina goal. I mean, what is there to say about Liverpool nowadays?
There's just nothing to say I mean to anymore.
I mean,
it's not funny anymore, is it?
no, it is. It's hilarious still. It's actually getting funnier by the week, I think. That's now their 6th home loss in a row. They're 8th in the league. Like we said previously, they've got 2 games in hand over Aston Villa have got 2 games in hand of them, and so do West Ham. So realistically, they could be 8th to 10th come the end of the season at this rate. No European football as well going on at this rate. I mean, where has it really gone wrong for Jurgen Klopp's side?
That's the question. I think no one really specifically knows. You can't completely boil it down to one thing.
No.
Like it's stereotypical now at this point to say, oh, it's the injuries.
Yeah, you can't be saying that because, yes, they have had a lot of injuries, but like we said last week, Leicester City have also had a lot of injuries this season, and they're still up around the top 4. Chelsea have had their injuries. Man United have had their injuries. City have had their injuries and players dealing with COVID. It just seems that Liverpool are having this massive hangover of actually winning the league, and it's carried on for way too long now.
And then again, when you look in their defence, you do feel slightly sorry for them.
Yeah, I mean, their defence yesterday against Fulham was Andy Robertson, Reece Williams, Nathaniel Phillips, and Nico Williams were the back four, with obviously Alisson in goal. It's a little strange seeing Trent not start. Don't know what the thinking was behind that. I mean, yes, he hasn't been as good as he has been in the past couple of seasons, but I don't know whether he had like a little niggle or something, or...
See, I'd seen something and it was purely just rest reasons. Like they don't, like the rumour that went around was that they do have set times when they rest players, which would explain for me, not playing Mane, not playing, but they just drop them because you don't do that even with the form. They're too good.
It's just quite strange. I mean, obviously we've said the form-wise you don't drop them, but I mean, it's still, you would expect them to start in this kind of game just to give them that bit of morale boost and think, right, coming back off our loss against Chelsea the other night on Thursday, we would want to bounce back straight away, play our best players, and right, we know Fulham aren't having the best of seasons and they're in a relegation zone, although they have turned it around recently. This is the type of game we play our best players and we pile misery on Fulham, and everyone will be like, okay, Liverpool have just had a little blimp, but it seems it's not a blimp, and I've genuinely run out of words to say about it.
You're going back to the point of something needs to change. How deep does that change now go?
I think it's going to be interesting. For me, it's what they do in this upcoming summer window, because they need to get rid of a few players. I think specifically in midfield.
Yeah, But there's one way it shouldn't be going. It's sacking Jurgen Klopp.
Oh no. The only
Forward
way
watch or not, that
fraud.
man deserves to stay in his job. He deserves when he does. Well, wait, I need to word this properly. He has earned the right to leave when he wants to leave.
Yeah, 100% agree. But for me, I think they need to invest in more players in different positions because they're heavily based on central midfielders who all practically play the same position and same type of play. So there's the lack of difference in them. So yeah, they just come in. Ronaldo can come in one game. Fabinho when he's played in midfield. Milner if he's coming off the bench. Oxlade-Chamberlain, Thiago. They all just play the same type of position and same type of way, and it hasn't worked because sometimes two of them go forward and then leaves one of them central midfielders back, and they're not really a defensive midfielder, and they all play, like I said, it doesn't work when you have that many players doing the exact same thing on a pitch. You need differences on a pitch to work it out and different styles. And then with the defence, they took way too long to get in Ozan Kabak and the fella from Preston. And he's just
injured.
Well, both of them are injured now.
But Kabak's not been completely impressive in the early signs.
No, but I mean, he's only played like a month's worth of football yet, so I think it's still a little too early to judge.
Yeah.
But I think they needed to do that, and then I think they need to have better options for the as backups for the front three as well. Because yes, Jota's done amazingly when he's called upon earlier on in the season before he got injured, but Shaqiri doesn't do it anymore. Divock Origi doesn't do it anymore. So they need to have that ability to have someone come on and still have a big impact on the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm turning to you now, saying I mean a lot. But this isn't an easy fix. Doesn't matter who it is. This is going to be a massive process that we're still unsure whether they actually get out of the hole they've dug themselves in.
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
We're going to start having a counter just every time you say it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about though. Like, it isn't an easy process to fix, and can they actually fix it is another question. And looking at it at this minute in time, I don't think they can fix it. It's a lot of hard work to do in just this one window coming up, but it may spill over to the next couple of windows. And how long will that affect Liverpool going forward next season is definitely something to question. But we've got to speak on the positives, and that is obviously Fulham. They've won the game 1-0 thanks to Mario Lemina, and now with the results elsewhere in the league, they are just in the relegation zone by goal difference at the minute. Brighton are outside on -8 goal difference, whilst Fulham are on -11 on the same points. Newcastle in 16th on 27 points, and then Burnley on 30 points and Southampton on 33. I did say this now, if any of the teams out of the bottom three would get out, it would be Fulham, and they do look like they are putting up a real fight to stay up now, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, you weren't alone in that. Probably, everyone was saying that. But you can't call it who's going to drop in.
No. I mean, you would say possibly... you're right, you actually can't, because Brighton aren't scoring. They're having lots of shots but aren't scoring. Newcastle are 6 and 7s. The one week they play really well, the next week they'll be awful. Southampton went on a bad run of form. So I don't know. It's too close to call, I think.
I know who I want to go.
Newcastle?
It'd be lovely if both Newcastle and West Brom went down, in my mind. But that's my Villa fan perspective coming into it.
I would want Burnley to go out of the teams down there.
You just hate Burnley?
I just don't like, nothing against Sean Dyche or anything, but I just hate that Turf Moor pitch. It always looks, it's for me, it's not a Premier League pitch. It always seems
North.
No, I don't hate the North. I just hate
because
that
he voted
pitch.
for Brexit.
I just hate that Turf Moor pitch, and United always do really poorly there. So that's
Actually,
why
so
I
did
want them to
Villa,
go.
relegate them.
And he'd be one less claret and blue team in the league as well. But yeah, full credits to Scott Parker's side. Put up an absolute dogfight, got the result they needed to, and like we've said, they are putting up a real fight to stay in the league, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up staying in the league. Right, the game that followed was the Manchester derby, and it wasn't a boring 0-0 for once for a 4:30 kickoff on Sky. So
it's still depressing because of the ending.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to bring out your sound effects for this one.
I banned myself from using it for this episode, even though there are many times I could have used it.
Yes. United were awarded a very early penalty after Anthony Martial was fouled by Gabriel Jesus, and Bruno Fernandes scored the penalty after 2 minutes. Luke Shaw then doubled Man United's lead 5 minutes into the second half, and that was enough for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side to end the streak of Pep Guardiola and Manchester City.
What is it they say about all good streaks?
They must come to an end.
And the best ones end at 21-1.
Damn it. I'll let you get away with it.
It's a very niche reference, if some understand it.
Yes.
I did stop myself from tweeting a pic, even though I saw someone do it and be banged for them, and I'm very annoyed.
Penalty incident early on. No questions about it. It was a silly foul from Jesus. Why?
Why is he there? He's a striker.
Yeah. If you look at there's a picture going around of the incident. Man City have made Martial look like Lionel Messi against Athletic Bilbao. If you've seen that image a few times.
Is this how it works, Man City? The centre backs play strikers, where the strikers play centre backs.
I think it must be
the opposite way around with NZ.
Yeah, and cool, calm, collected penalty from Bruno.
Well, of course, he's an expert.
Edison
he gets enough of them.
Edison did get a hand onto it, but it wasn't enough to stop it going in the back of the net. I think that is now 3 consecutive away wins at the Etihad for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side. So he's made the Etihad his own stadium again.
King of the Etihad.
But yeah, phenomenal performance from Solskjaer's side. Managed to keep City at bay, played really well.
Is the title race still open?
No. I don't see it's being open at all. I mean, City are too far ahead still, and unless they have a massive blimp, I don't see it being...
They're going to have to do a Liverpool.
From 2013-14?
From right now.
Well, yeah, but I was on about the season where they absolutely bottled it when the Denver Bar incident.
It was like 10 in a row.
Yeah.
No, that's what Man City are going to have to do.
And Man United have to keep winning because the gap is still 11 points between the two sides.
If you can look at this from a different way as well, should you as a Man U fan actually a little bit annoyed that your team has completely turned up against the top of the table, but not against the Crystal Palace or Sheffield United when they should be winning them easily?
I know where you're coming from with that, but the thing is, I expected that against Man United. Not against Man United, for Man United. As soon as I saw that Crystal Palace result last week, I thought to myself, United are going to show up and actually beat Man City. I may not have said it on the preview show, but as we was getting closer,
stupid enough to do that.
Yeah, as he was getting closer to kick-off, I was thinking, you know what? I can see Manchester United actually winning this game, and it'll be just typical of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that United play really well, hold City from scoring, and get the result somehow. And you'd be like, hang on a minute, why couldn't we do that against Crystal Palace a few days ago?
You want to be champions. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, you got to do it on a consistent basis. Maybe it was the fog against Crystal Palace that put them off.
Excuses.
The final game that took place on Sunday was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium between Spurs and Crystal Palace, and it was the Gareth Bale Harry Kane show as they both scored a brace, and Harry Kane got 2 assists as well.
Cheers, son's crying.
I mean, Bale has now scored 6 goals and 3 assists in these last 6 games for Tottenham.
Did I say something? That's now more than any winger at Real Madrid this season.
Wouldn't surprise me, actually.
I think that was what it was.
I saw something earlier, which I'm going to bring up now, is have we gone back to 2013? Gareth Bale playing really well and Liverpool struggling to make the top 4.
I think you said that last week, but yeah, it feels like that's where we're at.
We've definitely gone back in time. I mean, phenomenal for Bale doing what he's done over the last couple of games, and Kane excellent as always this season. The top 4's not realistically, well, it's not over for them. They've got a game in hand over Leicester, Man United and City.
They can still get the Champions League. They've got to win the Europa League though to do it.
Yeah, 2 points behind Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea, who are looking phenomenal in the league and have yet to play this weekend, as they will play 6 o'clock, which is obviously after we've recorded. But then you've got Everton in between the two sides, who have a game in hand over them and 2 over the top 3 on 46 points. So it's not all over and lost for Spurs, but like you said, they've got to win the Europa League to get into the Champions League. It's the easiest option for them.
Yeah. It's the easier option. Well, not the easier option given is in the Europa League, but it's their best chance.
Definitely. Crystal Palace. I mean, I expected that result realistically. They didn't really fret too much going forward after they scored the goal, or really before it. And it was just easy for Spurs, I think.
Yeah, fair play Tottenham. Most teams would crumble under the re-emergence of Christian Benteke.
Yes. But like I said the other week, Crystal Palace are in their rightful position. They're not really too worried about the teams below them and potentially going down, but they're not going to put a threat for the top half of the league, so they are rightfully just round about mid-table.
Yeah.
Elsewhere in the Premier League on Saturday, in the lunchtime kickoff, Burnley played out a 1-1 draw with Arsenal. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored after 6 minutes for Mikel Arteta's side before a calamitous mistake from Granit Xhaka handed
Burnley. It was the goal of the season. I don't know what you're on about.
An easy leveller for Chris Walker's slot home 5 minutes before the break. What on earth was he doing there, Xhaka?
It's rule 1 as the person when you're in your penalty area, don't pass it across the box.
Yeah, as a defender, simple rule is if in doubt, kick it out, put it in Rose's head on. Yeah, but in that instance, he's defending, and you're in a position where if you do something wrong, you could lead to the goal, which he did. So just hoof it out of play.
Yeah,
it's simple, basic football.
Yeah, in the heat of the moment of playing, you just do anything. I guess if we're being nice to him, but you've got to think better than that, surely.
100%, you've got to do better than that for a player of his caliber and skill. He should be doing a lot better than that.
I admired Chris Wood shoot Hazard, though, just celebrating it like he had scored it.
Yeah. I mean, you would do if you're Chris Wood in that situation.
Do we mention anything on the conspiracy, inverted commas, that is hounding Arsenal right now?
Which is...
They're getting screwed over by the referees, just like every other team in the Premier League.
Well, if it's happening across the league, is it really that much of a conspiracy then?
Well, they got to complain about the blocked shot on the line. Like, that wasn't handball, it was the one before that. I think they had a claim.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but it's the whole VAR debate that we keep having, and the handball rule, which just seems to change each match day. that happens. So should they have had a penalty? Probably. In the pre-VAR, it most likely may have been given, but with VAR nowadays, I just don't see them type of decisions being given with how the referees are interpreting the rules. Elsewhere on Saturday, Southampton beat Sheffield United 2-0 thanks to a James Ward-Prowse penalty and a Shea Adams goal just after half-time to give Ralph Hasenhüttl's side their first win since the victory against Liverpool.
It feels that long ago.
Yeah, it's the first victory in 10 Premier League games for the Saints.
Yeah, and Shea Adams' goal was
beautiful. Absolutely beautiful goal. I think the main bad problem, though, for the Saints is they lost Danny Ings quite early on through injury. Don't know how long that's going to be for. He is now, if it's a long injury, you got to say Shea Adams has to start kicking on a bit because his time at Southampton hasn't really been that good.
Not for the money they paid for him.
But I think if it is an experience, what's the word I'm looking for?
Easter's next month, mate.
No, not Easter. A long spell out for.
I thought you said experience then.
No, I was trying to think of a extended was the word I was looking for. An extended period of time out for Danny Ings. He does need to step up a bit now.
There goes his Euros place.
Yes. In terms of Sheffield United, didn't really do much, and I think, like we said before, they resorted to finishing bottom, and I think Chris Wilder's already planning for next season, to be honest.
Why couldn't they have done that on Wednesday?
It's always how the cookie crumbles. When you want them to put in that performance against your team, they never do.
Speaking of crumbling.
Yes, we're on to your team now as they played out a 0-0 draw with Wolverhampton Wanderers in the early evening kickoff. Finished 0-0. Villa stay in ninth now, just 5 points off the European places, but not really a good weekend for Dean Smith's side.
First half was the best we've played in what has felt like a while. And then the second half was one of the worst I've seen us play in a while. It just made no sense.
Yeah, really inconsistent. You would have thought, considering how well you did play, you would be able to kick on and get that goal. I think an early goal in the second half is what is needed.
We didn't turn up in the second half.
Yeah.
What was this?
But if you did get that early goal, I think that would have helped us a lot more.
We could have been 3 up in the first 15 minutes. Ollie Watkins, I don't know if you've said this now, Ollie Watkins is now the unluckiest striker in history. He's hit the woodwork more times than any player this season. It's 7 times. If he'd scored that, he'd have 17 goals right now.
He is quite strange how unlucky he is.
Missing for about 5 yards as well.
Well, yeah. That doesn't help.
Although Roman Saez clearly went, hold my beer.
But yeah, you can't. I mean, it's still a point in the right direction. You're above where you would expect to have been at the start of the season, and
like I said, it's lower at the start of the season. But yeah, I'm satisfied.
Yeah, and you still got 2 games.
7th is the realistic target.
Yeah, 100% is still feasible for your side. And the final game that has taken place so far this weekend was at the Amex Stadium on Saturday evening as Brighton hosted Brendan Rodgers' Leicester City. And it was the host that took the lead after 10 minutes thanks to an Adam Lallana goal, his first for Brighton and Hove Albion. And then just past the hour mark, Kelechi Iheanacho levelled things up before Daniel Amati scored the winner 3 minutes from time for the Foxes.
I got a lovely kick out that first Leicester goal.
Yeah, it was a very nice finish from Iheanacho.
It was the pass for me. That no-look pass from Tillmans.
He's such a great footballer, Yuri Tielemans.
Yeah. If it was match of the day's analysis was good, like Iheanacho makes it because of the run. He just makes a quick move
Mm.
to get through and then just chips it over. But it's like they worked on that in training.
Oh, 100%. You can tell they did. And they always say practice makes a perfect precision goal. And it worked for him. Look, as we said, Leicester still in the top three, a point behind Manchester United. Obviously, before the Man United won, they were up to second for a brief period of time. Even with all their injuries, they're still doing all right this season, Leicester. And you wouldn't be surprised if they do get a top four finish. The other two games that are yet to happen are Chelsea versus Everton at 6 o'clock today and West Ham versus Leeds United at 8 o'clock. So I think Chelsea-Everton is going to be a cracker game, or hopefully. Like we spoke on the previous show, Thomas Tuchel's still undefeated in the league. But Everton, you never know which Everton are going to show up. And then Leeds versus West Ham, you'd expect Leeds to win 1-0 just so they can level out their goal difference back to 0 again.
It would help us out a bit if they won.
Yes, it would make it only still a 5-point gap to West Ham, but it'd be nicer in terms of goal difference for Aston Villa. Right, onto the other stuff around the world in football. On Saturday evening, it was the Klassiker between Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund, and it was Munich that won 4-2 thanks to a Robert Lewandowski hat-trick and a Leon Goretzka goal, and Julian Haaland? Erling Haaland. It's because I saw Julian Brandt come on then, just having a quick look over the stats again. Erling Haaland brace in the opening 10 minutes for Dortmund wasn't enough.
This was pure Master versus The Apprentice stuff.
It was.
Obviously, I didn't watch this. I didn't watch, but I fully wish I had.
Just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, that's now 100 career goals for Erling Haaland already at the age of 20. And Lewandowski is now up to 31 league goals for this season.
Two freaks of nature in their wheelhouse.
Just absolute pure joy to watch them play football. It really is. I'm always just left speechless every time you see either of them to score and play nowadays.
I like Erling Haaland, but you need to start pacing yourself a bit, otherwise we're going to run out of things to say about him.
I think I already have run out of things to say about him.
He's going to get to 30 years old, or we're not going to have anything left.
Definitely. But the result and other results elsewhere mean Borussia Dortmund slipped down to 6th place in the Bundesliga, which isn't good news at all for them if they are wanting to keep hold of Haaland and Sancho in this summer window.
I don't even think they've got a chance of that, even if they get third somewhere.
I wouldn't be, like you said, Haaland maybe stays because I think teams. Gone. You think?
Yeah.
You think someone will rather overpay this summer than wait another year and get his release clause for, is it 64 to 70 million?
They'd pay because they know that he's worth it.
Where do you think he goes then?
Not Chelsea.
No.
I'd be tempted to say Man City, weirdly.
Well, The Athletic have said this morning that Man City aren't actively looking at trying to sign him, but
it's March. Of course, they wouldn't be.
You can still get deals done around this time. Don't worry.
Priority though.
I think for them, it's one of them. They'll wait to see the Messi situation before potentially making a move. And
I think the Messi boat has sailed because we'll get else to get to that later. But
and what happens with Sergio Aguero as well?
That's why I said Man City.
And
if not, I know Bayern have supposedly got an interest. I don't know why I'd go there. That's it. I'm honest.
No, that would then would say Lewandowski could leave.
Yeah,
because I just don't see them two being able to work together.
And Bayern don't play two up top.
No. Then you look elsewhere. Barcelona, we say what happens with the Messi situation, and I don't think they can afford him, even at this lower price because of all their finances and all that stuff. PSG don't need him.
What about Real?
Real, again, I don't know
what they even afford him.
I don't know what their finances are looking like, because seems to be a tougher clampdown since COVID has happened on what Spanish clubs can spend. Atletico obviously don't need him. Then you come back to England. Arsenal probably couldn't afford him and wouldn't fit into their system.
You really just put Arsenal in the conversation.
No, I'm just saying it, like the big teams here. Spurs don't need him.
Arsenal can't even finish in the top 8, so they don't deserve to be anywhere near this.
Liverpool need him, but won't get him.
Their ambition is Mbappe 2021.
Yeah. And then Man United need him.
We'll never get him.
Won't get him.
You've got more chance of Sancho.
Well, reports are saying that United seem to have called their interest on signing a right winger and are more determined in getting a striker and a centre back in this summer window, which is a bit strange, but considering they've needed a right winger for the past 10 years or so since Cristiano Ronaldo's left, they haven't had a true out and out right winger, and Sancho fits that bill perfectly.
Hey, who needs Sancho when you've got Dan James?
I mean, he's doing well recently, but I think I'd still take Jadon Sancho. Elsewhere in the Bundesliga, Bayer Leverkusen beat Mönchengladbach to overtake Dortmund in the league, with thanks to a goal from Patrick Schick 14 minutes from time. Hoffenheim beat Wolfsburg 2-1. Frankfurt and Stuttgart played out a 1-1 draw. Hertha Berlin beat Augsburg 2-1. Leipzig beat Freiburg 3-0 thanks to Emil Forsberg, Alexander Sorloth and Christopher Nkunku with the goals. And Cologne drew with Werder Bremen 1-1, and Arminia Bielefeld drew 0-0 with Union Berlin. And Schalke's new boss, I've completely forgotten who they appointed now, they drew 0-0 with Mainz and still remain a foot of the table, with relegation pretty much sorted for them. Over in Italy now, Juventus pulled off a 3-1 victory over Lazio thanks to goals from Adrian Rabiot and a brace from Alvaro Morata, despite going 1-0 down thanks to Joaquin Correa scoring early on for Lazio. Good to see Morata actually play rather well for once for Juve and scoring goals and not being offside.
Not from what I haven't seen it. I can't say much on it.
But yeah, decent result for Juve, and they are closing in on the teams above them, but they have played the same amount of games as Inter Milan, who are yet to play as a time of recording. They play Atalanta at 7:45. Napoli beat Bologna 3-1 thanks to goals from Lorenzo Insigne, Victor Osimhen. Lorenzo Insigne got a brace there, and AC Milan beat Hellas Verona 2-0 thanks to a Diogo Dalot goal and a Rade Krunic goal. So how things stand in Syria, Inter Milan remain top by 3 points and obviously can extend their lead with the victory tonight against Atalanta. AC are in second, Juve in third, and Roma in fourth. Now over in Spain, it was the big derby on Sunday afternoon between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, and it finished 1-1. Atleti scored after 15 minutes thanks to Luis Suarez before Karim Benzema equalised with 2 minutes left on the clock to make it 1-1. Disappointing result, you got to say, for Atleti.
They've just not had Real's number this year. No. Interesting, despite the season they've had, and it's potentially costing them.
Yeah, you definitely have to agree there. They just seem to have slipped up in recent weeks. They haven't been as consistent as they were in the first half of the season. And like you said, they've struggled with Real Madrid this season completely. The gap is now down to 3 points between Atleti and Barcelona, but Atleti still have a game in hand. Speaking of Barcelona, they got back to another win in La Liga, beating Osasuna 2-0. Goals from Jordi Alba and Iliax Kokoruma with his first goal for Barcelona. Very good player, and hopefully there is a lot to come of him if he stays on track, the young 18-year-old. Speaking of Barcelona, they announced their presidential results on Sunday evening, with Joan Laporta becoming president for a second time. What are your thoughts on the matter?
Well, don't have any immediate thoughts. technically, but if it goes anything as well as it did the first time around, then success should come their way again.
Definitely. He was the one that appointed Pep Guardiola as manager and was there when they won the Sextuple back in 2010, was that? Or was it 2012? I can't remember.
Don't remember exactly if it was after the or maybe 2009 Champions League final or after the 2011 one. I can't remember too much.
Yeah, it was one of them 2 years. I can't fully remember. But it just seems to have Barca fans a lot happier now that he is back at the club.
Well, that's we obviously don't know the plan, but if there isn't one, then that's a problem.
Yes. He has visited Barcelona's training ground today to meet with all the sporting teams of Barcelona and set out his plan. From what I saw Fabrizio Romano tweet, I think it was yesterday, that Jordi Cruyff is set to be appointed on the team as some sort of director, and also I think there was some other former players potentially coming back to the club as well. Victor Valdez was going to be appointed a goalkeeping coach of La Masia, and Mathieu Almani as the sport director. And
so is this a case of getting the band back together?
It seems to be his way of thinking it as, how much of the band can I get back together and get back to the glory days of the club?
But it ain't going to be Xavi. It's not going to be Xavi named manager though, because we already know who's being named manager.
Mikel Arteta. Though, we mentioned Xavi, and it's not really Spanish football, but you could give a shout out to him as he won his first league title with Al Sadd over the weekend. They've been playing excellently over in the Qatar League. But back on Barcelona, it's going to be interesting to see what Laporta can do, and if he can convince Messi to stay, what will happen there.
I didn't know this, but players are allowed to vote.
Yes.
I just found that weird. It was Messi going to vote.
Yeah. From what I believe, it's anyone that is a part of Barcelona. So football players, both men and women's teams, obviously I think you have to be over 18. The basketball team, I think they've got a handball team, and then fan members, I don't know whether it's like season ticket holders over here, are allowed to vote.
It's basically meant people if you I'm trying to remember what it is, but season ticket holders also have like membership.
Yeah.
As well. I don't know the whole system, but it's
there is there's some sort of weird way membership at Barcelona where people are allowed to vote and get everything sorted. Laporta won with 54.28% of the votes. Victor Font coming in second place with 29.99%, and then Antonio Freixa getting 8.58% of the results. So there was only 3,628 spoil votes and 351 blank votes, which I don't understand why you would do that for.
Waste of time that must have been.
Maybe it's just Josep Bartomeu's friends. They just wanted to hopefully ruin the election. Obviously didn't have enough impact on it.
Or enough paper.
Oh, true. So that is the world of European football all round up. We'll hand over to you now for Did You See That?
Oh, he missed it! I do not believe what I've just seen! Very interesting! Oh! Something weird is going on. Shit! Did you see that?
Did you see that? It's not technically Did You See That, because this was something from last week that I actually forgot to put in the last episode. So, my bad. I don't know if you've seen this since. Have you seen anything about Jamaican football recently?
I've seen that they're trying to get Mikel Antonio to play for them.
Well, this was my story because Mikel Antonio is not the only name they are trying to convince to get citizenship and play for their national team.
Okay. Who are they trying to get then?
So, from the thing that I saw, their names are as followed: Andre Gray of Watford, Damari Gray of Bayer Leverkusen, formerly of Leicester and Birmingham, Isaac Hayden of Newcastle, Mason Holgate of Everton.
Has he not made an appearance for the England first team?
Mason Holgate?
Mm.
No.
Not even like in a friendly or anything?
No.
Okay.
Not sure it would matter if they had a cap because doesn't Antonio technically like Liam
No,
Moore
he was.
of Reading. But I know this guy has an England cap, Nathan Redmond.
But then he can't do it, Redmond.
I think you can. I don't think it just bans you.
It is the ruling is once you've made. I'm sure it's once you've made an appearance for them. That means you're not allowed to switch allegiances to a different country.
No, I'm no expert.
Unless you fight your case with FIFA and all that.
Yeah, but, the only other player that in this list that I know for a fact is Kemar Roof of Rangers.
Interesting.
You put that list. That's pretty spaced out. But if you put Antonio in that list as well, that is an awful team.
Yeah.
In the list there were rumours of Max Aarons and Ivan Toney also being a part of it, but I think Max Aarons ruled himself out.
Yeah.
Toney might have as well.
I do know Kemar Roof does have Jamaican in what do you call it? Relatives in him because he is related to the singer Georgia Smith. They're cousins, and I know she is Jamaican as well, both from Warsaw. But I mean, for me,
it's a nice low-level team. You've got to think North American section.
Yeah, the US national team is up and coming, and have got a lot of brilliant players now. Mexico, they always produce good players.
Costa Rica is there now and again.
Yeah, Canada are starting to slowly improve, obviously, with the emergence of Alphonso Davies. That's probably putting them a bit more on the map. So
Panama.
Yeah, they're always up and about. So out of the Caribbean island sides, they obviously have the best if them players were to go there. But you don't see them ever challenging in the near future with, obviously, the teams that we've mentioned. But I don't see a lot of that happening and coming off any time soon.
Yeah, it was just a nice little thing that I saw. But that is it.
Yes, so on now to the world of women's football. In the WSL on Sunday lunchtime, Manchester United beat Aston Villa 3-0 thanks to goals from Katie Zellum, Jess Sigsworth and Kirsty Hansen to hand Casey Stoney's side a victory there, which is a good result for them after their two losses previously against Manchester City and Reading in the league. Manchester City...
I'm surprised you didn't make a bigger deal of that.
No, I'll keep it calm as...
it's not surprising.
Yes. Just a very good result for Casey Stoney's side. And I know...
We know our level.
Yes. Manchester City left it late to beat Everton. They won 1-0 thanks to a lovely strike from Kira Walsh in the 81st minute. Might be one of my goals of the weekend in the WSL. Absolute phenomenal finish from Kira there. Brighton and Hove Albion beat Tottenham 2-0 thanks to a brace from Enessa Cargman in the second half, which for me was definitely the surprise of the weekend. The result, I mean, yes, Brighton were above Spurs in the league, but I was expecting it to be a draw or only a 1-0 victory. But Spurs do have 2 games in hand over Brighton still. Arsenal beat Birmingham City 4-0 thanks to a brace from Caitlin Ford in the first half. Vivian Miedema again scoring an absolute world-class goal, and then Lisa Evans scoring in stoppage time. Now, I know we don't usually go into the WSL in too much detail, but the first 2 goals of this game have still left me confused. So, Caitlin Ford's goal, she scored it, But the linesman, I can't remember who it was, flagged for what I initially thought was offside, and then the ref didn't seem to count it. But then you saw the Birmingham keeper Hannah Hampton down. She seemed to have been injured, but then the referee allowed the goal to stand, and I was like, "Wait, what's gone on here?" And I've looked back at it a few times still, and I still don't understand it at all.
They're getting lessons from the Premier League refs.
I think they must have. And then the second goal, I initially thought it was Vivian Miedemar that scored because the ball was played in from the right hand side. I think it was Beth Mead that played in the ball, and Miedemar did get a touch, but he didn't go over the line, and Caitlin Ford was there to tap it past Hannah Hampton, and then Miedemar's goal herself, absolute beautiful. Had got the ball on the left hand side, managed to handle off a few Birmingham defenders, and then put a rifled shot past Hampton, who couldn't keep it out of the net. So good result there for Joe Montemurro's side. And then the only other game that's happened so far this weekend saw Chelsea beat West Ham 2-0 thanks to Sam Kerr and Beth England with the goals. So the results see Chelsea at top of the table, 2 points ahead of Gareth Taylor's Manchester City side, Man United in third, and Bristol City at the rear of the table. But Bristol City are playing tonight at 8:15 on BT Sport at Ashton Gate against Reading. So that should be a very interesting watch. Right, on to the Predictions League now. Gotta say, it was a great week for myself, but also annoying at the same time.
Do I play the 100-point celebration music if I have it?
Yeah, if you've got it, I'd play it.
I don't.
Damn it. So, in terms of predictions, I got the only game I didn't get right was Atletico Madrid versus Real Madrid, because I predicted Atleti to win 1-0. But in every game this weekend, I was out by 1 goal in every game, which is so annoying. So,
hang on.
Go on.
I think I have celebration sound effects. Would you like it?
Yes, please.
There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, so every game I was 1 goal out by, which is really annoying. So I predicted Southampton to win 1-0. They won 2-0. You predicted 1-1. Leicester, Brighton, I predicted 2-0 Leicester. It finished 2-1. Spurs Palace, I predicted 3-1. It finished 4-1. Bayern Munich versus Dortmund, I predicted 3-2. It finished 4-2. Juve Lazio, I predicted 2-1. It finished 3-1. And then obviously Atleti Real finished 1-1. So the current standings now have you on 79 points and me on 109 points after this weekend's, which is very good for me. 79.
Oh, Christ. Just get me to 90.
You never know. If you have a weekend like I did this weekend, you can break the 90-point barrier. We do have midweek games coming up in the Champions League, I believe, this week. On Tuesday, Borussia Dortmund play their second leg against Sevilla, leading the first leg 3-2, and Juventus are losing 2-1 against FC Porto in their second leg on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, it's the second leg of Barcelona versus PSG, with PSG leading 4-1, and Leipzig versus Liverpool leading 2-0 there. We also have Man City playing in the league this week against, I believe it's Southampton.
It is. Pray for them.
Yes, and Atletico Madrid are playing in La Liga against Bilbao. And then on Thursday we have the round of 16 first legs in the Europa League as Ajax play Young Boys. The standout tie is obviously Man United versus AC Milan. Then there's Roma for Shakhtar Donetsk. Olympiacos play Arsenal, and Tottenham Hotspur play Dynamo Zagreb. So they are some very interesting games to look forward to this week in the Europa League. Right, we'll be back at the end of this week to have a look back over the games in Europe and preview a weekend of Premier League action, which will get underway on Friday night between Newcastle United and your Aston Villa side. So make sure you do join us for that later on this week. Until then, thank you very much for listening Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you are listening to on YouTube. Download us if you are listening to it on Spotify, and make sure you give us a 5-star rating if you are listening on
Does
Apple
anyone I don't think you
Podcasts.
download podcasts off Spotify.
You can do.
You can do, but who does?
You never know. You might want to
just
have
listen.
a listen to us. Yeah, but if you're out and about and you don't have your internet, you can download the podcast so you can give us a listen to whilst you're out and about. And have, with the new laws in England, you're allowed to have a picnic with one of your friends as long as you're adhering to social distancing rules. So
Should we go for a picnic then? You're asking me out.
not in this weather at the minute. It's still quite cold, and there's a chance of rain today. So no.
I know you hate it. I wanted to end this. I know you hate me saying this, but congratulations to Rangers.
Okay. Is that it?
No, I just think they did a very good job. They've been unbeaten this season. They deserve recognition.
It's Scottish football.
Doesn't
No
matter.
one gives two shits.
Doesn't matter where it is. They're
It's a
unbeaten.
plastic league. I could go unbeaten in the Scottish League.
Gerrard's done more than Lampard.
Again, that's not hard. Any more ridiculous statements you want to finish on?
No, carry on. I didn't realise you hated Steven Gerrard that much.
Yes. Also, if we get this podcast out on Monday, which I'm hoping
So if
you
Gary
will do.
Neville had done it, you'd have been all over it.
Yeah, but Gary Neville was awful at Valencia. Actually, did you see Jamie Carragher's tweet at the weekend when
I did. No, was it good? You already sure about Carragher? Because I saw Neville's one aimed at Carragher.
yeah, so there was a series of tweets between the two sides, between Neville and Carragher, and Neville goes, "How bad are Liverpool at the moment?" To which Carragher quote tweeted saying, "Worse than your Valencia." And then Neville goes, "You'd get into this Liverpool team now." And then Carragher replied to that, "So would Phil." Which is absolutely great between the two of them. And if we do get this out on Monday, happy International Women's Day, as it is International Women's Day in the world today. Till then, we'll see you on Thursday for our preview show. And it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Brad.
See ya.
And we'll see you soon.